let's get started. Today also, I'm going to follow the same design as last time. But you will have the workbook. I'll give you the link. You can follow me on the workbook. I'm going to stop at, I've created a single slide where this is the activity or the decision that you have to make. Okay. And all of that is covered in the workbook for that you can, so that you can do it later on also. Okay. And of course, in the one-to-one, like Nawat was saying, when you pick up a one-to-one slot with me, make sure that this work, even if you've done, even if you don't have all the answers in the workbook, it's okay. Go through it so you will know which answers you don't know. And we spend time in my one-to-one talking about those things instead of something very generic. Okay, because I want to make sure whatever between these sessions with me and my mentoring, you are applying this in your business. For me, that is the true success, that whatever you have learned, you've actually applied this. It's not, you've not left it at a theory level. So with that, let's get started. There's lots to cover. Today's session, the one which I'm doing, this is the program. This is a session which I cover actually in 3 months for my in group cohorts. And when I'm doing one-to-one with my clients, I do this around 6 months it takes me. Obviously I'm not able to cover all of it, but I have made sure the most essential pieces and is covered, and it's not at a very basic level, it is in depth. Okay, so I've tried to make sure that there is some lots, not just some things, there's lots that you can take away from today's session and apply in your business immediately. Okay, so today the focus is on building a repeatable B2B sales engine. Now, while the topic was B2B, the same logic can be applied for your B2C businesses also. So you don't worry about it. The specific elements, I will tell you when it is required, if there's a difference, but the same thinking process which is there, the same engine parts you will be using. Somebody will build a Mercedes, somebody will build an SUV, but based on your customer, you can do that. But the elements will still remain moti the same. Okay. So with that, let's get started. Since you've already known me, I'm not going to do talk about that. This is the book for today. Okay, it's again same 90-day sales engine. I've built this so that I'm again sharing the link in the chat. Now you can, as people join in, maybe you can also, share that link, and you can also download it over here. Same thing like yesterday. If you have already last time, if you have already created your login ID on my website, you don't have to again create a new one. You can just use the same email ID as you did last time and quickly download this book also. Okay. So the way this book is again designed is on all the critical decision points that you have to make when you're building a sales engine. And I have also put in the concept that try to pick up one area, build on that for the next 90 days, next 3 months, focus on that. So you understand how do you actually build the sales engine, right? So, but we will take one example so that you, instead of trying to build 5, 6 sales engine, focus on one area, and I'll keep saying which area, and then build it step by step. Once you understand how to build this and you have the workbook, you can go back and build it for other channels, other customer segments, etc. The thinking process will remain the same. Okay. With that, let's get started. Quickly, okay. Since the focus is on an engine, what are we going to be doing is understanding what an engine basically means. And this is exactly the same logic that we are going to be building for our business also. One is that it is continuously running week after week. Okay. It produces output. So it is not just simply running. We get benefits or output out of it. And which is the output? Ultimately, it is sales happening in our business, revenue coming in. And the last one, which is very, very important, is that over time, it has to improve. That means we keep learning what is working, not working, and keep making improvements. For me, that is the meaning of an engine, and that's exactly what we are going to be building today. So let's start with the very first one, okay? By the way, on your screen, whenever you see this icon on the right side, like a book, this is your activity. It is covered in your workbook also. So normally, whenever I ask businesses, or whenever businesses come to me saying that something, my sales engine is not working the way I want it to work. And when I ask them what is not working, first thing I always get is we need more sales. Okay. But whenever we say when we need more sales, invariably, if you remember, like I showed you the uh, iceberg last time, okay, needing more leads is just the tip of the problem. There, and it could be a marketing challenge, it could be a business development challenge, but it is not the complete sales challenge. Okay, there are other pieces which is also things which are not working in your in your sales, which is why your numbers are not happening. And these are some of the reasons over here. I'm not going to run through all of them. I'm going to be quiet for a moment. You go through this and you share with me, or put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share with me, where is your sales engine breaking right now? Which are the symptoms that you're seeing right now? Aside from we need more leads. Everybody needs more leads, including me. सागर जी, आपको शायद म्यूट पे रखना पड़ेगा अगर आप if you are not answering questions here. But if you're answering questions or asking me questions, please unmute yourself and talk to me. Okay. So which of these areas do you feel is, which are these symptoms that you are seeing in your business where your current sales engine is breaking or not operating? Anybody?
We are not reaching enough of the right customer.
Yes. I put that purposely. Thank you so much for picking that up, Dina, because when we say we don't have enough of leads, sometimes the problem is not enough of leads. We have enough of leads, but they are just not the right type of leads, right? And that is where the challenge is coming in. So that's a good one. Thank you very much for sharing this. You pick up one of these, and we will work through this example for you throughout today's session. Okay. So tomorrow when you can go back and pick another of this and start using the same logic, you can start solving that problem also. Okay. Anybody else? What are the other? Are there anything on chat? Huh? Sorry. Huh, okay. The chat. Uh, Download doc. It's there. And the link is here. Okay. So, anybody else? What are the other places that you feel that your sales engine is breaking? Is there anything here that is not clear to you in this sentence, in this slide? How many of you are sending a lot of proposals, but the conversion ratio, how many of those proposals get accepted and becomes a business? How many of them have that? So Darshan is saying deals move slowly, depends on the business owner. Yes, a lot of us have this challenge, right? How many of you have this, that there is too much of dependency on you? If you take your eyes off sales, even if you have a sales team, if you take your eyes off sales, sales gets impacted. Correct? So recently I was working with a client and he was doing two work. One is working with me on improving the sales, setting up entire sales processes. And the second, he was working with a branding agency to build the brand of the business. Okay. Now the business owner got busy with both of us in separate session. I also introduced him to an HR consultant to set up the HR policies because we wanted to hire some very aggressive salespeople from larger companies. So we wanted to make sure that our HR policies were also as per the larger organizations. He got so busy, impact was the sales numbers that particular month got impacted, right? So this is a very common sense. Even if you're working on the sales, because he was working on the sales strategy, but he was not having the time to work on a day-to-day sales calls. This happened to him, right? Yes, Dina.
We have somewhat different difficulties. What the sales teams are trying to make push to the customer to sell the product.
Hmm.
Instead of not taking the relationship or listening what the pain point really the customers have. The only
That
thing they are trying to push the products or the services. First of all, as a owner or the dependency, we listen the customer first, then we
correct,
provide the solution. But
correct.
this thing we are not transferring to the sales team. That is the
Uh,
difficulties we.
very nice, Dina. In fact, I was doing a session yesterday for IIMK, that is okay, that's Calicut. I'm trying to remember, get the right pronunciation. It was Calicut, and I did one of them that one fundamentals of sales that I think every business owner should know is how to have that customer conversations where it's always about understanding the customer's problems first before you start talking about your own products, right? So I get what exactly you're saying. And as business owners, intuitively, we know to do that. Okay, you're able to tell the difference what you're doing and what your sales team is doing, but many people don't even know that that is a difference that is happening, right? So I'm glad that you're seeing that, and that is why I've not covered that in depth. Okay, but some of the sales systems I'm going to be talking about today is meant to bring a sales system where the sales teams are average performers, right? But how do we, if the sales team is average performers, your sales system has to be a super performer so that it takes over the lag. And that's what I'm trying to help in building today. Okay. Yes. So Darshan, you had something to ask?
Yes, madam. So
Yes,
actually,
please.
last year we built a sales team,
Hmm.
and I withdrawn myself very quickly, so
Hmm.
it got impacted.
Hmm.
We built a team, we given training, and we made some basic systems for
Hmm.
review. But I thought I could reduce my dependency,
Hmm.
so it
It didn't
got
happen.
impacted.
Uh,
Again,
yes.
now I am into same work.
Okay. So Sudarshan, I want you to tell after we finish today's session, right? Tell me which of these pieces you did not do that time, that which is why the dependency on you still remains. Okay.
Sure, madam. Sure.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Sure. So today, actually, what I'm thinking, I have a program called the Sales Freedom Series where I do this for a 3 months program. And that focus there is how sales business owners who even have a sales team, how can they, remove the dependency of the business on them on sales. So this is, I picked up a lot of those points for you today in this. Okay. So let's get started on this now. Okay. So for you, I wanted to remember this, right? That before we start looking at building sales engine, we need to understand that sales engine doesn't mean that you build everything all the time together right now. Okay. You start with your biggest leak and we will identify where is your biggest gap, where your sales engine is breaking, and fix that first, and then we will go step by step. So the first thing that I would like to highlight is this. Many thinking first about new leads or looking at adding more customers. Okay. But I like to start with existing customers. Okay. Why? Because as SME business owners, we have the advantage. We've been serving some customers for a couple of years now. And if you're not able to convince people who are been giving you regular business to do more business with you, how will you convince complete strangers to do more business with you? Right? So as for me, it makes sense to always test your sales engine, a part of a sales engine, and your some of your sales processes with increasing the numbers with existing customers. So what are we doing? What are the areas that we can look at? Can we increase the repeat purchases? Can we look at getting larger orders? Can we cross sell or upsell? Are you familiar with these terms? Can somebody tell me what is a cross sell and what is an upsell?
Uh, Upsell, cross-sell means we increase the volume or the same upsell means we give the some other products that we build it to the customer.
Okay, let me just give you a simple example. Okay, let's take when we go to a McDonald's. Simplest example I can give. Okay, when we go to a McDonald's and we order, let's say, a burger, McDonald's will say, "Do you want Pepsi with that? Do you want French fries with that?" Right? Okay, that is called cross sell. They are giving you more products. Okay, along with the burger, why don't you buy Pepsi and chips also? Okay, but when they ask you, do you want a small burger or a big burger? Okay, same product, but they're trying to sell you more of the same product, a bigger size, bigger quantity. That is upsell. So upsell predominantly means same product or same services, but more of it. Cross sell means you're adding more products which is related to it. Okay, so that's how. So if you are selling, I see a lot of businesses doing this. They're selling a machinery, all the consumables related to the machinery, they add into it, right? So that can become a upsell. Or I'm selling you this machinery, I can also sell you another machinery, a different that's something else. That's a cross sell, right? So that's the we're looking at if we have these kind of additional products, can we look at uh, how if the customer can buy more products from us if they're just buying one or two products, okay? Or if they're buying the same products, can they buy in more quantity from us? Okay, then dormant customers at one time they were actually buying with you regularly, okay, buying from you regularly, but slowly, very very slowly, without you realizing, suddenly you've realized that they were just 3 4 customers last year, they were buying nearly every once in a quarter, but this year they haven't bought anything in the last 2 quarters. So this is a good exercise to do, to compare last year's customer data and this year's customer data and see which of those customers have gone quiet. It makes sense to approach them first and reactivate them because these guys already know you, right? Then referrals. If you have some customers who are already coming, who come back to you regularly, are you asking them for referrals for people in their relation? Invariably, I've seen a lot of time if there is somebody who's running a business, his friend circle, his relatives will also run similar businesses sometimes, right? So asking for that referrals, we don't do, we know, and from people who are very happy with our services because they our products, that's why they keep coming and buying again and again. Okay. And then the last one is if you are selling to one division of a customer, are you selling to all the other divisions? Right? For example, I have a client who was selling to John Deere. Okay, and they were selling to John Deere in the North India market. Literally all the branches of John Deere, they were doing some work or the other. But when it came to South India, they realized that they don't have John Deere as a major client. Okay, so they realized that the South Indian branches and John Deere in many places has distributed purchases. It's not centralized purchases. So they have. So that means every branch of division of John Deere, you have to go and ask and become and panel yourself as a vendor separately. Places where there is a centralized procurement, then that's not a challenge because you get signed up at one place, you get orders from all the different divisions as such, right? But here this is one example where the moment we identified that, we said let's figure out who within our existing connects in John Deere can connect us to the South Indian offices, and then from there we immediately in the next 1 quarter we started doing business with South Indian offices, right? It can be one that. The other one is I know a lot of businesses who work with Hindustan Lever. And Hindustan Lever has got so many divisions, right? Literally every consumable product, they have a division. But we are working with only one or two of them. We're not working with all the divisions. We haven't even, asked our customers to connect us with other divisions. So that is the existing one, right? So this is what I mean here. So the same logic is that if you cannot find growth from people who already know you, believe me, it's going to be so much more harder to convince complete strangers to do business with you. Okay. So keeping that in mind, this is the activity that you will be doing. Okay. I want you to look at, if you have to look at your existing customer expansion, out of these six different areas, identify where is the existing opportunity for you. Okay. Again, it's there in the workbook. Identify which one of these are there. And the funny thing is, once you look at this is nothing else but account management. This is the very basic principle of account management. I have a lot of clients who come and tell me that Neetu, account management, only corporates will be doing it. In our system, it doesn't work. But how many of us have, but if you break it down, how many of our businesses have repeat businesses, repeat purchases? How many of our clients have multiple divisions and multiple geographies? How many of our clients have quietly gone dormant in the last year? All of us, this is all common things. This is nothing but the account management principle itself, which is, if you remember the example I gave in my last session about this company who was manufacturing processes for electronics. Okay. And when they came to me saying that we want to look at improving our sales, etc., well, when I did the entire assessment, there we identified that instead of looking at adding new clients right now, let's take that 250 customers and create a key account management strategy. Right. And just with this one, this is just a great example where uh, within within 2-3 sessions, that is each session I just spend once a week, I meet up with them. Within 2-3 sessions, the CEO now, the founder and CEO has absolute clarity. Okay. How he will achieve, in fact, cross the revenue targets for this year with just his focusing on key account management. Okay. I haven't even gone back to him and told him now we are ready to increase the target, because till now, whatever new target that you had for this year, we have mapped out with existing accounts, they can make this. That doesn't mean that they will not go behind new customers. They will go behind new customers. That means we need to have an additional revenue target. This is a 50 crore company, and already we are at 82 crores. It's what the key opportunities are looking at. Worst case scenario, it is 65 crores for this year they'll achieve. So now my intention is to move them, to push them second half of the year, is to have another at least 10-20 crores for new accounts. And it is very much possible with this organization. This clarity he got in 3 sessions. Okay, so that's something, that's the power. And of course, he has great amount of data, because of which we were able to I could quickly show him the numbers. So I'm not just throwing some numbers in the air. Okay. So now how will you figure out who are these key accounts for you? I'm going to give you something which is a very powerful strategy. Again, gives you so much of clarity on what to do this. So let's do a small exercise right now. Okay. Let's say that in your existing customers, you have two types, like this 4 different types of customers. One customer who buys from you only once and spends a very small amount. Okay. Second customer, let me say these are sets of customer, okay, buckets of customer. Second customer bucket, which is there, they do buy from you often, but they only spend small amounts. So let's say they literally buy every month, but their billing comes to only 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh every month. Okay. The third set of customers, they also buy, let's say, monthly, but they spend large amounts of money. So every month, instead of just spending 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh, they are spending 10 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 10 lakhs with you. Okay. And then the last one is that there is this customer segments who only buys once, but they spend a large amount. These are typical for clients who have an annual spending. Month of March, they place the order for the entire. When you have a long production cycle, they place the order. Month of March, for example, mostly they'll give you 160, 70, 1 crore, 2 crore order itself at the very. After that, they are quiet for the rest of the year. Right? So if you had to do something like this, I'll give you some examples. But if you just have to take this and tell me out of this, which customer is like a important category A customer, really important. Okay, category B is somebody who's little lesser important than A, but still important. Which one is a category C? And category D is the least important. Which one, according to you, will fall in these categories? Which one is A here? Category A, the one which is the most important for you. Which one would this be? 3 for you, Sudarshan, a customer who buys often and also spends large amount of money. Okay, done. Who for else? What else? Then 2 is B, somebody who buys often but spends small amount of money. Okay. 4 is C. 4 is C, a customer who buys only once and spends a large amount. Fine. And then D is what? 1 is D. Okay, clear? The logic is clear? Okay, so what do we do is we actually map this down. We create a 2 by 2 matrix. And in category A, the part, like so we have monetary, the value of the bill, and frequency is how often they buy from you. Okay, so the one who buys often and spends most amount of time money is category A on the top right corner. Then we have category B, then C and D. Okay, can you guys, when you're looking at this kind of a matrix, okay, can you imagine which customers are falling in which categories for you? Will somebody want to tell where are most of your customers falling in which category? Which box do they fall in? Anybody? Anybody? Dina, want to give it a try?
Yes, ma'am. Category B is the most of the customers we are in category B.
Nice, nice. Okay, fantastic. In fact, having most of your customers in category B is a good, healthy sign. Okay. Now, let me explain why. We need, not everybody has a category A customer. And many a time, this is if the ones who have it, it's a marquee customer. It's a customer who is already potentially it's possible that these are the guys who are giving you more than 50% of your revenue. Okay. And these are typically very large organizations. And what I've also realized is in the examples where I've worked with companies, in most of these organizations, you are a very small vendor for the client. They have other vendors. So for you, you can't replace that client because that client is giving you more than 50% of the revenue, but the client can easily replace you. So there's a high risk and a high reward area. Okay. The B is the safe stability area, right? That is okay. But it also means that there is an opportunity for you to ask because they're just buying once from you. There are also opportunities for you to push them to buy more. Cross sell, upsell opportunities will be here. Okay, that's one. Now, category for many organizations, when they bring in new customers, okay, they will typically fall in category B or C. Okay, or sometimes they enter with just buying it's a large account, large potential account, but they just buy from you a little amount spend only once. And if they're unhappy with you, they rarely come back. If they are happy with you, they will go from D to C, right? So if you see that happening, that means there's an opportunity for you to make that C customer into a B or a customer. So so what you're seeing is based on your business, okay, each box, each bucket of customers can have a completely different growth strategy. It's not the same strategy for everybody. Okay, I'll explain that a little in a little way. Okay, now in this example, I've used value of the business and the frequency at which they are buying. But you can also use other parameters. You can use profitability versus frequency. Especially for businesses where your margins are very, very thin, it's better to calculate profitability versus frequency instead of measuring revenue versus frequency. Okay, especially when we looking at this category A customers, large marquee customers are there, right? There, I have realized quite often the per unit profitability is always lower because they negotiate very hard with you. Correct? So if you look at profitability versus frequency, maybe the names of the customers will change in the metrics. So somebody who's high revenue, okay, may not be high profit. Category A, what is category A in revenue and this one? Frequency. When you do profit and frequency, they may not be a category A customer. So you can choose which is the right one for your business. Okay. Then you have effort versus profitability. I like doing this for manufacturing companies. Okay. I can give you an example. There's a client of mine who is a manufacturer of capsules for the pharmaceutical industry. Okay. And I was doing a session for both the production department and the sales department. Okay. So interestingly, when I asked which parameters the sales guys want to take, they said revenue and frequency. Production department said effort and revenue. Why? Because they had certain clients, certain very big, like a Glaxo, Smith client that is there, then Cadila. These pharmaceutical giants used to also buy capsules from them. But he said that they are so strict about the capsule that even if the width of the capsule, width of the cover of the capsule, which is there, right, increases by 0.1 mm, they reject it. So to ensure that the rejection is low, the production has to be very, very, very precise. That means the production effort is very high for these type of customers. So they said that, ma'am, that it takes a lot of effort. So because of this, for our manufacturing, if we have one of these clients which are very particular like this, okay, which is a category A customer for the sales team, for me it means that I have to spend nearly 1.5 times the effort, time, people to manufacture the same batch. So the effort is very, very high. Okay. So the moment we did the exercise, we realized what is category A for the sales team is not category A for the production team. So we kind of said, hey, let's change this and make it effort versus profitability. So it becomes a universal measurement for the organization. It was like a major shift. The teams realized that the clients like Cadila, etc., who are very, very, where demand high precision, but the profitability there is very low because they are huge brands and they negotiate very high. And they realized that the clients where the effort was less and the profitability was more was actually category B clients. So they designed their entire growth strategy on category B customers and not on category A customers. So it can be completely different for your business. Don't assume that the same logic applies for all businesses. Okay. You can also, there are other parameters that you can also use. I'll not go into detailing right now, but again, this is covered in the workbook. Does anybody have any questions here? Are you clear about this? Okay. So, like I was saying, that always it's not necessary that our customers who are the biggest, they are the best for our organization. Sometimes the mid-sized customers are make more business sense for you. So now, what does it mean? So what do you do with this information? Okay. Here is what I said, like each set of customers can have a very different action. So if you have a customer who is high free category A, okay, what are you going to do with them? You are actually you will be defending this account, because this is where most of your competitors will also be targeting. This is a place where you will try to expand to other divisions. This is where you can ask for reference. So the strategy is different. Well, category B account, okay? These are the ones where they are not buying often from you, but they're buying huge value is high. So maybe this could be one of the accounts which is at the risk of going dormant, or if they're already dormant, you have to reactivate them. Okay. High frequency, low value. This is where you're looking at upselling, increasing order value, cross-selling, bundling, whatever those upgrades. This is a new version of our product. This is a better version of our product, whichever. So that's what you will be doing with them. And then the last one, low frequency, low value. Okay. This is where you either uh, try to remove the time spent by your sales team on these accounts. They may be, it's still in your, they will definitely be existing in your accounts, okay, in your customer list. But try to make sure that your sales team, or you, if you are the one who's selling, is focusing on category A, B, C customers and not wasting your time on category D customers. So let me, the example that I gave you last time about the company who's into, who's a CNF company, okay? One of the divisions, which is their strongest division, was air exports, okay? And when I introduced this customer categorization to them, he immediately went very aggressive. Division sales head was there. Okay, he immediately did the entire calculation and came back and he told me, Neetu, I realized 46% of my current customers are actually category D customers. And these category D customers take the same amount of time and effort for my sales team to negotiate and close. Okay, existing customers, not new customers. Okay, as the larger businesses that is there. So he said, I have given my team an instruction. They have gone and filtered all these category D customers and identified which of them have the potential of becoming a category C customer. So they have created a strategy for that. The ones that they felt that they will not have the capacity, they are those guys who will have one or two requirements in the full year. That's all their capacity will be there. He says, for that, I've given my team an instruction, no price negotiation. We will just give them rack price. So we are not ignoring them, but my team is not spending time reaching out to them, and my team is not spending time negotiating with them. We will give them the rack price. They will take it, fine. If they will not take it also, it is fine, because my team is now focusing on category A, B, and C customer. Just by introducing this one strategy, within 2 months, okay, they saw a profitability increase of around 10 to 12%. Profitability, not revenue. By just focusing on the right set of existing customers just in 2 months. And when we're looking at the chart, I was saying, because you're focusing on category B and C customers, you will see this chart will keep increasing. This revenue, this profitability increase will go linear upwards. So now this is the work that I want you to do. This is the easiest way for you to increase your revenue. This is an engine that I want you to create, prioritizing your existing customers. Okay. For those of you who will work, who will come for my one-to-one, do this exercise and let's talk about what your strategy with them is going to be for the next 90 days. Okay. Any questions on this, guys? This is, how many of you feel that you can implement this in your business right away? Anybody? Nobody feels that you can implement this in your business?
Neetu, I think this is a good idea, but like the problem is how do we classify? I think like even we can know somewhat the sales guys can classify these customers, but is there is any tools or anything which we can actually have
For
when there
this,
is
you need your data numbers, Rajesh. What are your current numbers? What is your revenue? What is your customer data that you have? Right? Profitability data from per customer, revenue data per customer, their own market size. You need that data for you to be able to do this.
no, with that data we can classify the customers
Yes,
because with the same customer there are multiple salesmen are engaging.
got that.
All right. So for the salesmen to basically know even before they talk to them to know how their background profile, to maybe
Mm,
like imagine we are classifying them in one way or other, like like a silver customer, gold customer, like this.
correct, correct.
So maybe like we don't have any tools as of right now. Only maybe it was done morely orally.
Got that. Perfect. So Rajesh, so one thing here is when I'm talking about classifying these customers, we are looking at most of them with with the existing billing and production data that is existing in our organization. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about external right now yet. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
more of your internal data that you have to use to get this. So
Yeah.
okay, so what I would if you have multiple sales guys catering to the same set of customers, I would suggest ask each person to do this independently and submit to you a list of category A, B, C, and D customers that he or she is handling. Then find which of them are common, right? Multiple, so that which one of them are outliers, completely different, and based on that you decide for the organization. This is an organization level decision. Okay, this is not for while you're using data, asking each individual to do it separately. As an organization you will finalize, this is my category A, B, and C, and D customers, and this is my strategy for each one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I would suggest do this exercise before you come for a one-to-one, and then we will discuss exactly what strategies you should be applying.
Sure, we'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one thing a lot of my mentoring clients take this. In fact, I'm so happy to when I go back and I see on their whiteboard they have started talking, calling that customer by okay, customer segment. Instead of giving it names, they just call it cat A, cat B, cat C, cat D. Okay, so it's become a part of their sales language now. So when somebody brings in a new customer, also I've seen business owners ask, is what is the potential of this kind? Can it become a cat A, C, D, or a C, B, or A customer? If it is going to be remaining as a cat D, no excitement, okay, fine. But if has a potential of becoming B and C, then let's map out what is the strategy to make it a B and C customer for us. So that has become the lens in which even business owners are looking at new customers. While I'm telling you, start with your existing customers. Once you've got this right, no, this will become your language even for new customers. Okay. Okay. Now that we've understood with existing customers, let's start looking at new customers. But before we do that, let's understand what is happening with the new leads which is coming into your organization or which your sales teams are generating. So what are we going to do first is look at all the different current lead source from where leads are coming to you. Okay, it may be through LinkedIn, through your distributors, through your website, through India Mart. Okay, if you're getting leads from both India Mart and your website, list them separately. It's happening because your sales teams are going out there and meeting up with potential new customers, or because you're sending they're calling the new customers, or you're sending emails, or you're participating in industry events, or you're responding to tenders, whichever it is. Okay, make a list of all the leads, all the sources from which leads are coming in. Okay, next, out after we do this, you look at how many of these leads which are coming in, okay, are high quality leads. So, and where are they coming from? For example, if let's say you have leads coming in from India Mart, you got leads coming in from your sales team making calls, and you also have leads coming in when you participating in events. Okay, out of these three, where do you get the high quality leads? Quite often I have seen businesses come and tell me, India Mart, I don't get high quality leads, that I never get to know who the buyer is, or the buyer is quite often price shopping and doesn't have any intention of buying immediately, or the buyer is spoiled for choices. There are so many different people, vendors who are giving him prices, slashing their prices just to get his business. So for me, the quality of my leads from India Mart rarely gets converted. So that means distributors and industry events is where sales guys and industry events, the quality leads are better. Then the last one is how many of these are predictable. That means month on month, I can get this, I can get X number of leads from this particular lead source. So generally, I see people come back and tell me that my sales guys, I cannot by guarantee say that they will generate so many leads every month. But if I go to an industry event, or if I participate, I easily get at least 100 leads and 100 qualified leads, because people who are typically only buyers come in, and based on some pre-qualification that we do at the stall, we are able to say how many of them are serious buyers. Okay, so starting here in this example, we started with more number of sources from which leads are coming in. Then we realized that not all the leads that are coming in are the best qualified leads for my business. Then from there, we realize not just that, how many of them are predictable. Because for a sales engine, remember, it has to be repeatable. Predictable lead generation is a key factor of a sales engine. So, yes, Sudarshan.
Yes, madam. Here we had an issue actually last financial year.
Okay.
After we built a sales team, we were also started working with the A type customer, B type customer, C type customer, like that. But our team is giving offer, but it is not getting converted so quickly. Then we have introduced inquiry rating system.
Very
so
nice.
we made some 5 parameters. So level of urgency and budget is approved or not for that specific project.
Correct.
And level of person we reach till the decision maker or influencer.
Very nice. Very nice.
So like that, we kept some 5 parameters, 5 important 5 parameters. And then based on the rating, we started approaching so that we can qualify the lead better.
Very
if
nice.
the rating is more than 3.5 or 4, so that is actually moving faster from
Very nice.
one stage to another stage in the pipeline. So
Very nice.
instead of focusing directly all the inquiries.
Very nice, Sudarshan. I'm actually going to be covering that methodology also in today's session. Okay. One thing I want to add to that is, if you've done category A, B, C, D already, one thing to do is you check what is your strategy for each of these categories. It is not the same strategy. Okay, if you're trying to use the same strategy for all the 4 of them, then why that doesn't make sense for you to productize to create the categories. They are so check and see what is the difference between a category A customer strategy approach versus a category C customer for yourself. The product offering can be maybe similar, but the value that you're giving to the customer can be different. I'll share some examples in that a little while. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So now for us is that now we have to start tracking on this. So let's look at let's take the example over here. I wanted to see some of the lead sources and most common gaps that I have seen, why these lead sources are not generating predictable qualified leads for you. Okay. I want one of you can share with me anything specific, one example and tell me where that this is my source. But I'm not getting predictable leads from here, and we can work with that. Anybody? Okay.
In website, we inquired, inquiry comes, but qualification is poor.
Correct. Website is one challenge I see with many organizations, because we put a form on the website, but the form is only to capture contact details.
Yes.
The form is not for qualifying as such.
Okay.
Right. So what happens is anybody who can, like I have a problem on my website. I have some people coming blocking off a slot with me and just writing gibberish on the form. And for me, every hour is if of waste of time which is not given to a paying customer is a loss of revenue opportunity.
Okay.
Right. So I removed the form only from the website and said, okay, I mean, I have a form to reach out to me, but I've removed the blocking my calendar. So that, somebody who's just, so for me, what the qualification is, if it is important for them to reach out to me, they will send me a message or an email. They won't block my calendar first. So I turned it in that way. But, so that's definitely one common thing, is to figure out your form. What information can you ask in your contact form that will help you do the first level of qualification?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So let's take one example. I see this happening very, very often, right? That we've given our sales team a huge database of customers and say, go and talk to them, especially if you get the database from the associations. You get an associations directory, you give it to them and say, go reach out to them. But there is no structure for reaching out to the customer. This is how I started my career. I was given a list of all the new companies that have registered in the ROC, okay, in my city. And my job was to go meet up with all of these guys and get inquiries. Okay, this was 35 years ago. Okay, not 35, 30 years ago. Sorry, 30 years ago. This was what was. So I realized nobody was going to keep a track of how many people I'm meeting. What am I saying? Nothing. So I built a system for myself saying that this is my, every month I get so many 100 names. Out of that, I do my filtering from there based on the products that we sell. Okay. Based on where the registered address is, I would do my own filtering and then go out. And I created my own system. And when my CEO, this was when I was in a job, when my CEO, one day he asked me, how are you able to, I was supposed to give a report of how many customers I've started meeting. And this was a new system that they built. Before that, they were not even tracking that. The CEO, when the CEO said that every day I'm able to meet five new customers and bring at least 2 to 3 new inquiries every day. He asked me how is it you're doing? Because the same data I used to give it to the earlier person who was there before me, and they were not able to do a good job. So I said, okay, this is what I'm doing. And then I realized now, that time I didn't realize it, I had built a system for myself. And then the organization has made that a system for themselves. So after me, whoever I hired for my people to report to me, I made it something which they also follow, and slowly it became a system for the organization. Okay. So let's take one example. I'm going to take an example of LinkedIn. Let's say, how many of you are depending on LinkedIn to give you leads? Anybody here? Okay, so I'm just using the LinkedIn example. Okay, and see what do we do with this? So let's say I want to increase the number of leads coming to me from LinkedIn. I am a huge believer on LinkedIn. I have started so many new businesses. I have changed industries in my jobs and in my work throughout. And every time a new industry, I don't know any new industry, new geography, I don't know anybody, anything. LinkedIn is what got me all my contacts. Okay. So what is it what you will do is that, let's say we take LinkedIn and we say that now whom are we going to target? Who's my target on LinkedIn? What will I say, do to engage with the audience? Okay. How will I follow up with them? How will I qualify them? Okay. For some of you, qualification may come in earlier. For some of us, it may come later. Depends on the way you do it. Then who will be responsible for this, for each step of the way? And then how will I review that this is working or not? This is the basic work that we are going to, where you build your engine, and ultimately it will create your high quality leads. This is the simple step. I've just brought it down to say that if you see LinkedIn activity alone, where you have lots of control, includes being very clear whom are you going to target. And you can apply this for anybody, for outbound calling, for associations and network. Even if you're a BNI in BNI also, okay, you realize, many of you would have realized, just talking to every BNI member is a lot of hard work to get leads. Specifically, who's your power teams in your chapter, in other chapters. Based on that, you are able to, you create your target list, you engage with them. You know, just by talking to them once, they're not going to give you a referral. You have to engage with them. You have to follow up with them. Then they will give you some referrals. You will have to qualify it. Sometimes you are the one who's doing all of this plus the delivery. So you'll get somebody to do the follow up in your team. Divide the work so that this also happens. And then how will you review that whether these entire effort that you're putting on BNI is actually generating the kind of results you want or not? So what are you going to measure? That's exactly the same. Whichever lead source that you take, you can convert this into a 90-day lead engine for yourself. So this is the activity that we'll also be doing. And remember, last time we did the persona exercise. Okay, this persona exercise is the beginning of the exercise over here. Whom are you going to target is the persona. If you have done your persona exercise last time, you are ready to get going on this. Okay. So what is your activity now? So this is the fifth activity. It is there in the, I'm calling it activity. It's also your decision map. Okay. So which lead source, one lead source, pick up one lead source and map this as an engine. Who exactly are in this lead source or channel? Who will we reach? Why will they respond to me? How will we reach them? How will I follow up with them? How will I qualify them? Who will be responsible for doing this every week? Because remember, it's a lead engine. It's not a one-time activity. It has to keep on going. Maybe initially you are doing it, but after some time you need to hand it over to somebody in your team. If not, you will become the bottleneck. Okay. And then what is a monthly or a weekly review? What is a metric that we are going to be measuring? I will even share what metrics are. I'll give you some examples of this. Okay. So this is the 90-day activity that is there for you to just pick up one lead. Okay. And if you do, once you do this activity, when you do a one-to-one mentoring with me, we can go into details. So for me, so to map out your entire lead engine work for that particular one lead source. Okay. Any questions on these guys? No? Okay. Srijit, you had a question?
No.
No? Okay. Done. Now, for some of you, you may have a more than one lead source. So you can also convert it into a primary lead source and a secondary lead source. So that option is all. You can also try to do that, but don't try to do it with more than two. Initially, map it out, understand how to do this correctly, and then you can go to other lead sources also and start developing every lead source for your organization. But don't try to do it all of them together. Okay. There are some in the workbook, there are some prompts that I've added, right? Some additional questions that is there. So go through that and try and answer. Again, those questions are for you to think deeply. Now that we've understood the sources, let's figure out the funnel or the pipe and the pipelines. Okay. Now, I'm taking a very basic funnel, business sales funnel. Each one of you may have more than this, but I'm just sharing the basic one so that we can use this to understand the logic and then later on apply it for your own business. So let's say there is the sales funnel that you have has 4 stages. Awareness, where you want your potential customers to get to know about you, or you get to know about your potential customer. Okay. Second one, engaging with these potential customers with your products and services, getting them interested in what you're selling. Third one is converting them into paid customers, which is where they make the decision. And fourth one is retaining them or selling it to them again and again, more selling them repeat business. Okay. Now let's just take that this is your basic sales funnel. Okay. Now I have a question for you. Do you think there is a difference in the way a business sells and the way a customer buys? Anybody? This is a question for you. Is there a difference? Yes. And
Yes.
what is the difference, Srijit?
Business sales is we try to sell our company, means to the customer that we are doing this kind of manufacturing cylinders and all that. And customer buys trust.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. I have a very interesting model. I've not added it over here because it will take too much of time. But the way the customer buys, no, they have, they are always thinking about something which you may not even, which is nothing to do with your product. They're thinking about, like you said, can I trust this product? Can I trust this company? Will this product solve my problem? What if it doesn't solve my problem? What are the things that can go wrong if I buy this? How will it help me? Okay. Last time another sales guy came, he said same thing, but that guy's product was different this way. This product. There's lots of thoughts happening. There's lots of feeling. There's fear. There's anxiety. If it's a very important product which they're buying from you, they have a lot of these, which when as businesses we don't seem to think about it. Okay. So for us to help business owners think about this, I have created something called the mirror mapping. Okay. What do we do in mirror mapping is you take your current sales funnel, whatever is the stages. I've given four stages example. You have 5, 6, 3. Doesn't put your current stages. Okay. Then on the left side, I try and map out what is the customer thinking or feeling. Okay. What are their doubts? What are their motivations? What are their emotions? Okay. What's stopping them from moving from one stage to the other? They have become aware of you. They've got to know about your product, but they are not moving towards decision. So what is it there is some fear, some doubt which is there, okay, or some other motivation which is not clear. That is why they have not moved to decision. The doubt could be they don't think you can manufacture because you give them the product because they don't know about your capabilities, or they questioning your capability. They think you don't have the expertise or the experience. Okay. Motivation could be, I will give this business to my brother-in-law. No, he also has got the same business. It could even be that. Okay. It could also be for one of my clients is that uh, that they have a set of customers where compliance is very, very important because they are exporting their material. So they have to buy certain products only from ISO certified vendors, which is what my client is. So they feel most of those businesses they get. But there are a set of clients who are catering to our unregulated market where they don't have this kind of strict compliances. So those customers we will have actually, he's given me the example, one of their ex-employees has opened up a similar business and he's operating from his garage. And he is offering at half the price of what these guys are offering. Right. So I was telling, so they was like, Neetu, what do we do with such a situation? So for me, I was like, who is more important for you? The client who has certain compliances which you meet, or the client where there is unregulated market, so he has to not to worry about compliances. So his first answer was Neetu both. Then I said, okay, which one is more profitable to you? Which one is which is more long term, long lasting customer? They took a day, came back, and they said, no, you're right. The customer who is compliance, who's most strict on compliances, is where our profitability and our win rates are high. So we decided that we are not going to worry about the customers who are going to the to buy from somebody who's operating from their garage, because that customer is very, very price sensitive. And this organization has a policy that we will not sell below 10% margin. This is their policy. And we were able to map it to that. Okay. So the logic over here is we understanding the customer so that we can make decisions about it. And all of this, in fact, should be coming from your customer persona exercise. And then against that, you write, what should you do as a business? Okay, we were actually, this is a mirror mapping. I did this exercise with, I don't know how many of you know, in Bangalore, we have the BIEC, the Bangalore International Event Organized, which is there, right? Venture. They have a huge sales team, some very, very veterans and very, very different products. I did the same exercise for them to come up with their customer mirror mapping. And based on that, we were able to identify where there is a customer has a thought, but our sales action is not even looking at it. For example, the customer is worried about the whether you will be able to meet the timelines of production. Okay, but you are pushing the customer for accepting the proposal by giving him discounts. Giving him discounts at a time when the customer is worried about the delivery timelines is not the solution. So we don't understand what is their thoughts, what are their challenges, and where we are, but our sales action is going in a different direction. Okay. So for that, there is a simple table like this, which I've used. Okay. Write your funnel stages on the left side. Ask your sales team and whoever is talking to the customer, if you have support team, delivery team, production team, whoever is there, what do you think their customer is feeling at each stage? What are they expecting? What are their doubts? What are their motivations? Okay. And then look at what is it that you are actually doing. And is these two aligned or not? Okay. Like Srijit, you said, trust sometimes is the factor, right? So if it's a new customer, if he must be thinking, can I trust this business? Can I trust this organization? And if that thought is coming at an awareness stage, then as a business, what are you doing when you're reaching out to new customers, or when customers are reaching out to you at the very first stage? How are you establishing trust? Okay, if you feel that the question comes at a decision stage, initially they may not be thinking about it, but when they're making a decision, one beautiful way to do that is convert your proposal into a proposal, commercial plus marketing document. Add your customer testimonials in the proposal. Okay, add your names of some of the big customers in the proposal. Add the scope of which you have been working on solving this problem in your proposal. So when the client is looking at the proposal, this part of it is slowly at the back end building trust. Right? So if you sit and think about this, you will find that there are a lot of things in your sales actions which you're not doing, which the customer may be having which is not getting addressed at all. And very rarely will customers come and tell you, I don't think I can trust you. They will never tell you that. You're right. But it's us to understand that, okay, it could be this. And then at that stage, what should I do? Even if the client is not saying that they don't trust us, how do I meet the unsaid requirement or need of that customer? Trust is definitely one of the major portions, missing gaps I see all the time. Okay. Any questions on this, guys? Okay. This is one of the activities that you're going to be doing in the workbook. Okay. Again, if you have multiple people talking to the same customers, ask each one of them to do separately, collate all the answers. You will be surprised how much of information is already there within your own team. Okay, and this is the strength with which I operate. I don't need to know, how to manufacture capsules. I don't need to know how to distribute pharmaceutical equipment. I don't need to know how to manufacture what do you call this shit, processors. Okay, I don't need to know all of these things. What I need to know is uh, what information is already available with the sales team, and from which we can draw out insights. So I'm kind of telling you what I depend on to make my coaching and my mentoring actually successful for my customers, because the information is all there within their team and organization. Okay, great. So now let's go to one more activity, is to see currently where is the leak happening in your system. Okay, taking the same 4 stages. If you have more stages, you can add more stages. Okay, is this happening at an awareness stage? So if you remember the first thing that we did, where is your sales engine breaking? Same logic here, but what we're doing is, instead of looking at the entire engine as one piece, we're breaking it down into stages. Okay, are we not reaching the right customers? Is that where our challenge is? That's where, or customer is interested but not yet serious. That means at the consideration stage, we need to do mirror mapping. Okay, is it decision stage? Which is the example I gave you, that it could be, one reason could be because your proposal is only talking about money, but not of the value that the customer is getting. It could be that. It could also be that you're not talking to the decision maker. You're talking to somebody who is basically taking the information from you and giving it to the decision maker. Right? Or it's happening at a stage where customers are coming, are buying, yes, but only once. Where is your leakage happening? At which stage?
Madam, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Actually, how to identify in OEMs, how to identify who is the decision maker? Because there's a multiple segment available in OEMs.
Give me a little bit more examples, Srijit, a little bit more context.
For example, if we are going for the construction equipment like JCB, so
Okay.
for our product, there will be a different guy who is purchasing, who is sourcing
Correct.
or vendor development like that.
Correct. Correct.
So LinkedIn we are using as a tool for identifying the purchaser, but in LinkedIn also the guys is shown as a purchase team or vendor development team like that. But we cannot reach to the decision maker on the first go.
Got that. First, good. I agree, Sridhar, especially when you're looking at larger organizations, right?
Yes.
Because JCB manufacturing companies are very large ones. Where like I gave John Deere is one in crane manufacturing, right?
Yes.
Cranes and all they manufacture. So each of these guys have multiple. Sometimes geographically they are distributed. Okay, that is said. The best approach for you is the account management approach, right? Where different people in your organization are going and asking the information from different people and collating that information. And you invariably with this large organization, there are more than one decision maker. Okay, there is a concept called the decision making unit, DMU. Okay, there is the procurement manager, who is the, according to me, the most I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but the most difficult person to sell to, because the procurement manager's job is only to reduce the price,
Correct.
right? So I generally don't try with starting with the procurement manager. I try starting with the whoever is the business decision maker. So it's a business head. If he says this particular product or this service is exactly what I want, then the procurement manager, in many organizations, adheres to that. Okay. So that is one. In that business, as in I have people who, based on their businesses, they start with talking to a low-level manager, and because he's the one who's most approachable, and try to get the information from the low level manager to understand what is the sales, what is the buying process in their organization. That's the question I ask. If I understand what is the buying process, and all of these large organizations have a buying process, some will come and tell that we don't have a option. It is there in our procurement management software. All the vendors are listed over there. We can go and reach out to any of those registered vendors and place the order. Some companies have that rule, right? So then that means you'll have to figure out how do you empanel yourself and become a part of that list. Some of them say that for some divisions, we have this procurement manager, he makes a decision, or that business manager makes a decision. Okay. For some of them, they say if it's a new product which is not there in our system, then we follow this XYZ product. We ask for, so we reach out on LinkedIn, whatever it is. We reach out to, or we reach out to the association and get numbers from there. So whatever is their buying process, if you understand that, you will be able to start mapping. Account mapping also means that who are the different people in my customer's office who are making the decision, and I need to be in touch with all of them. That's the, I'm giving you a very summarized answer. Account mapping is a lot more work, but that's the route that I will take with OEM. The other thing is if it's a public limited company, Srijit, I would recommend put a Google's alert for that organization, and especially for people who are joining and leaving the organization. Because they generally make the announcement and then finding those people. That's the 2-3 tactics that has worked for me throughout my life. I hope it will be useful for you too. But we can do a little bit more deep dive when we do a one-to-one. Okay. Okay. So Darshan, you had a question? So
Yes,
Darshan?
madam. Yes, madam. Actually, we normally work with the customers. We identify 4 type of buyers in the organization. One is a user buyer, another one is a technical buyer, third one is commercial buyer, and fourth one is influencer or decision maker. When we enter with any organization, we may get access with the technical buyer or user buyer.
Correct.
But we'll try to understand who is approving project, who is approving budget, who is a commercial decision taker, and who is final decision taking authority. We'll ask question. Maybe 1 or 2 meetings we will come to know who are all in the hierarchy. Then one by one we can meet. That is how we are doing, madam.
Perfect, Sudarshan. Perfect. It's just great. So I can give you 2 examples over here. One more option for you to look at is something that we call the gatekeeper. Okay. Are you aware of the gatekeeper's role, Sudarshan?
Yes, madam.
What is it?
Gatekeeper, some customers may be positive about us. Some customer may be negative about us, or he may be favoring to some other competitor. So we have to map that gatekeeper. Who is that gatekeeper? We have to identify. Then we have to map whether he is positive or negative. Then how to make him positive. So some sort of action we have to do to make him positive, so that we'll move further to the next level.
Got that. So this little a part of it is right. Just a little adding a piece of it into that. A gatekeeper typically in very large organizations, is the person who's given the responsibility to go and, for example, identify at least 3 service providers, 3 vendors who will offer this. Okay, so what is great? It could be a manager, it could be the EA to the CEO. Okay, it could be just the production head, whoever it is. Okay, the gatekeeper is not a decision maker. He is going and doing market research. He is talking to potential vendors, making a short list and giving it to the decision maker. Okay, now the challenge for us is this gatekeeper is never going to go and tell you that I'm the gatekeeper. He will act like, oh, I am it's all in my hand. I have been given the responsibility. So they try to take all information from you. And then when you say, okay, when are you deciding? What is the what is the decision process? They say, oh, I've given it to my boss. He will decide and come back to you. That's when you realize that he's playing a role of a gatekeeper. Okay. Now the challenge is here is that this gatekeeper, it may sound like he's useless, but he's actually very, very useful. Because if you skip him and go directly to the boss, to his boss, okay, he can create hurdles for you. Okay. What he will do, he will when the information from the decision makers, he won't give it to you. If let's say they're changing a scope or they're being very specific about something, he won't give that information to you, and then you will not know, and you may miss out on closing it. Sometimes you've given him very important data information, he's not given it to the decision maker because he controls that information, right? That information flow, he controls it. So the best way is to, if you identify these gatekeepers, like you were saying, is that how do you make sure that they are positive towards you? Okay. And the best way to do that is to make them look good in front of their bosses. Okay. So what I've done, for example, is when I've realized in some of the cases, with the gatekeeper is somebody who's given the responsibility of doing the market research and coming up with the top 3 vendors in this industry. Okay. Now, as a business, I already know some of the top 3 or 4. What I have done, and it's worked beautifully for me in the past, is I've already compiled this report. And of course, since it is my business, I've compiled it, making us also look good, truly, genuinely looking good in it. Okay. And I give this entire report. I've created a very simple report, no fancy things, something very simple which we can create on PPT. And I've given this to the client, to the gatekeeper, and said you can add your own name. I've done the research. You can add your own name and present it to your management. Okay. I have done this so many times, and believe me, this has worked for me so, so beautifully. Because he now understands that I'm not there to steal away his thunder, to steal away his credit. In fact, I'm here to support his credit. So I generally, it becomes very easy for me to shift him from a negative or a neutral person to a positive towards our organization. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to share with you. But yeah, so when you're doing your assessing where is your current activities, where the leakage is happening, look at some of these questions. Again, these questions are there in your workbook. So think a little deeper. Don't just look at it at a deeper at a overall. Why is the leakage happening? Okay. Like I said, for example, proposal was sent too early, but value was not yet understood. We don't know what was the actual scope of that business, right? But we've given the proposal very early. Existing supplier and alternative we have not even considered, which is what we discussed last time, right? So these are, we will, once you go in a little deep. Earlier, at the beginning of the session, when we did when we did a quick assessment, we just looked at it broadly. Now we're going stage wise, and you can do this assessment. Okay, it will give you more clarity on where you are leaking. Okay, now after you've done all of these, we now get into how do you track all of this, and the biggest, most important piece for me is reviews. In fact, I do a only 2-hour session only on reviews. Okay, so today I'm going to give it to you in 5 minutes, but there's so much that we can do on reviews. But I'm giving you the essence of what we should do in our review. So generally, what we do is I see a lot of business owners ask these questions in the review. How many of you asked very similar questions? The last point, giving instructions, is to tell your sales team what to do. Okay. How many of you do ask very similar questions like this?
Myself.
Right? All of us do. We all learned. In fact, many of, if we have earlier worked in corporates or jobs, we've been asked these questions, and so we ask the same questions to our team also. Let me give you one more set of questions. And you tell me what is the difference between the smaller box and the bigger box of questions. What do you think is the difference between these two set of questions?
It's an open-ended question, right?
The first one is, what is the update? What would the response that you will get is, I went for the meeting, he was not available. I met the client, he said, we will talk about this next week. I met the client said, we've already closed the order with somebody else. Is this the kind of answers that you get?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we ask that, let's say we'll ask, instead of asking what is the update, which of the deals have moved forward in the sales funnel this week? Which one have not moved and why? Why are these deals delayed? Has the customer committed to whatever is the next step, next meeting, next update? Which date and time has he committed? Last question. What is your plan of action for this week? Last week it did not happen. Things did not happen. So what's your plan of action for this week? How many of us, are you seeing the quality of the questions in this? Right? Very specific questions which are there. What are they doing? They are asking for specific information, either stage-wise or whether the deal has moved forward or not. Whether you've gone 10 times to the customer and the deal is still stuck in that, that's the story I don't want to hear. I want to hear, what are you going to do about it? I want to hear, what have you already done to move the deal forward? The tone of your question is focused on outcome, not activities. So this is the questions that I want you to look at. This is one of the activity that I want you to look at is which of these questions you will ask. Again, I've given you this list of questions. I wanted to make a similar, there are some more sample questions in your workbook. Go through it. Now, here is one more very important things. Okay. Once you've identified 4, maximum 5 questions, okay, ask these same questions every week. Why do you think it's important for us to ask the same questions every week? Let's say I've taken these 4 questions here on the screen. Do we have enough opportunities for the target? And I'll also explain what does it mean when in the next couple of slides, we're going to talk about what does it mean to have enough opportunities to meet our targets. Okay. Which deals actually moved forward this week? Which deals were delayed? Why? And what is your plan of action for next week? If I ask only these 4 questions every week, what will happen? Any idea, guys? What will happen? The team is going to come prepared with this question because they know you're going to ask the same 4 questions. Yes? Is that correct? Do you agree? Don't agree with me, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, and don't you want your team to sit and think exactly about these questions on their own without you asking? You want them to look at which deals are getting stuck and work on them. You want them to look at which deals, do we have enough of leads for me to meet my target? You want them to do that work on their own, right? You want them to plan their week in advance so that they are able to achieve do all the work that is required to achieve the targets, correct? That is why it's important for you to pick up 4, 5, whichever it is, okay? Which are questions which is important, and ask the same question every week so that they start coming prepared. And just because they know you're going to ask them these questions, they are coming prepared. And because they're coming prepared, you're creating a very healthy sales habit with a team who may not be the best performers. Very simple. This is an example of having a very strong system, sales engine, okay, for a very average sales team. Are you seeing this, guys? Any questions on this? So, when I introduce this system to my clients, a lot of them come back and tell, Neetu, it takes me 4 hours, 5 hours to do a review. Every week, I can't spend 4, 5 hours. It's too much of work, all of that. So why when I see what are you doing is they go through every lead in the lead sheet. And each lead, they're asked the same first set of questions, which I showed. What is the update? And then they're giving them instructions. That is why, obviously, with each person, they're spending 1 hour, 2 hours. But now imagine the same questions, 4 questions you're asking. First 2, 3 weeks, the team will not come ready. When they realize that you are asking the same question, they will come ready. Then you finish this call, you finish your reviews in half an hour. And that half an hour is not at the compromise of the quality of the review. The quality of review has improved because now the team's coming prepared for it. But the time for review has reduced. One more thing that you can add over here is, what did you promise last week that you will do? And what is the status of that? You can add that also if you want. So we're keeping a track on a review. Now, this is a very basic example I've given for a weekly review. You have a different format for a monthly review. You have a different format for a key account management review. You will have a different format for the category ABCD strategy review. Okay. So one small little thing is, don't try to mix all of these into one single review. It become one Ramayana Mahabharata episode. Nobody will watch the whole thing with full interest the whole time. So like how you have to watch your series, no? Every week, one series, one episode, different season, different OTT thing has different days, different timings. The same thing with your review also. Different types of review, different dates, different type, but make it a part of your calendar. Block your dates. A review is where you will create the best healthy sales habits that you want your sales team to have. This review example is the sales habit, what we are creating, which I focus is how do we build a team, a sales team that is thinking, analyzing, and making a decision. That based on that, these questions are designed. Okay, the team doesn't need to know that, but you need to know that just by doing this, you're building a team. And how many of us want a team like that? How many of us want a sales team that is thinking, planning, analyzing, and making decisions? We all want that now, because that's where it takes away the burden of sales on us. But right now, all the thinking, planning, analyzing, decision making is on your shoulder. Right? And just a simple habit such as this can be a game changer for you guys. I have a client who worked with me 4 years ago. I was just talking to the one of the division heads, and they were telling me that Neetu, we have now got a CRM. Well, they did not have a CRM that time. So now we have a CRM. We have replicated your entire Excel sheets in the CRM. We still follow the same review system. They have a monthly business review, quarterly business review, and a weekly sales review. They follow my same whatever format that we had developed together at that time. They're still following it 4 years later on, even with the CRM system in place. I think it works beautifully for us. Okay, so now here's a very interesting. Now from reviews, how do you go into dashboards? Now what's very interesting is the review questions itself are your dashboards. So first question, do we have enough opportunities for the target? Is nothing but what you're measuring in your sales dashboard as coverage. How many of you have CRM tools? How many of you are using CRM tools? Dina, you're doing it? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. So these are all, let's see who else. Srijit is doing it, and Sudarshan. Okay, all the three of you are doing it. Okay, fine. So if you see this, you'll find these terms very familiar because it's very commonly used in CRMs. Okay, what is the coverage? It's in a dashboard. What is the lead quality? Which is where you were talking, Sudarshan, you were talking about the different types of leads. Lead score comes from here. What is the velocity of your deals? Okay, where are deals moving, where they're getting stuck? What is the next commitment of the customer? And what is your sales planning action? Okay, so sales planning is only thing which is not part of your dashboard, but you will get the information through the dashboard. Let me now show you why it's important for you to have this kind of a dashboard. Okay, I'm going to give you lots of examples now. Let's say you have a revenue target for one sales team or one salesperson, doesn't matter, of 1 crore per month. Now you can do this for individually, you can do this for teams or for an organization level, but I want you to understand what is the value of coverage.
Ma'am,
Okay.
can you show me the last PPT, the last slide? Yeah. Okay, start deals velocity. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
We're going to cover coverage, lead quality, velocity now. These three we're going to cover in detail, okay? So let's say you have a revenue target of 1 crore, okay? And you have a total value of leads already, which is equal to 4 crores. Is this are you in a good place now? Is this healthy? 1 crore is a target, but you have leads worth 4 crores with you right now. Is this a healthy mix? Yes, no, guys? No? Are you not very clear? It seems, yes, it looks like yes. Okay. Now, so what this means is, what's your coverage? Your coverage is 4x. That means you have 4 times the value of leads which you require. That's what coverage is, right? Okay, 4 times. You've got 4 crores of leads where you can take, where you just need 1 crore of billing. This is like your cricket score. So many balls and so much score, right? But we all know what happens with cricket, right? Even though it looks like we've got lots of balls, at the end, the game changes suddenly. So let's see what happens. If I tell out of those 4 crores, okay, qualified leads which are relevant for your business, and I'll talk about qualifying in the next one, okay, are 3 crores. So what happens to your coverage? From 4x, it's become 3x. Now, if I tell you, but 3x still looks good, no? You've got 3x the leads for achieving 1 crore the target. Now, if I ask you, out of this qualified leads which are there, 3 crores, the ones which are high probability of closing, that means they are already, the customer urgent, there's an urgent need, whatever it's high, the probability of it close. There's no other, the quality is very good, but let's say the competition is also absent over there. The customer already prefers you, right? That's why the probability of closing is very, very high. If you have to do that, then it's only 2 crores of them. So now what happened to your coverage? It's become 2x. Okay. Now the last one, because this is a monthly target. Okay. The value of the qualified leads, which have a high probability of closing, which will close this month, because I need to achieve 1 crore this month, right, is 1.1 crore. Not 2 crores, but 1.1 crore. What happened to your coverage? It's become 1.1x. What looked like a 4x coverage, if you go down into detailing, you will realize it is only 1.1x. That means I have 1 crore of target to achieve, but my total pipeline is 1.1 itself. So are you still in a good place, or are you in a place of risk? What is the probability that you will meet this target? Let's say the chances here are around 60-40. And this is where a lot of people come back and say that my dashboard is showing me 4 crores worth of leads. But when you start measuring the right coverage, you have to measure only qualified leads. And if you're doing a monthly target, qualified leads, high probability closing this month. That is your real picture. That is where you need the true value of coverage. Okay. Now, any questions on this? No? Okay. So let's go to this is the activity I want you to do for yourself. Okay. Look at your monthly revenue target. Okay. Look at the total value of the leads. See if how many of them are qualified. For qualified, you can do a band. Are you aware of what is band?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Prasanna.
Yes, Prasanna.
Yes, I have one question regarding this coverage. So I'm handling the product where it is having a long sales time, like it's about like 8 to 12 months. So to be very frank with my sales team, it is very hard to discuss with them about like the closure of this target. I mean, consider there is a quarterly target we do have, but whenever we used to discuss on the same part, as every customer having this, generally it's a capex oriented product.
Got that.
As you mentioned, the discussion is always going on like 3 hours to 4 hours, but no fruitful results. But then as you mentioned, like nowadays I'm just asking, as exactly like the 4-5 questions I used to ask, but still the story is same as like they keep on mentioning like this customer. I mean the visiting customers is very less. They're always they're always looking for the potential customers, and the risk is like if the customer is postponed the closure, or if a customer is closed with another vendor, both is having a high risk for me.
Got that.
So how to handle this?
Very nice, Prasanna. Very nice. So there are 2-3 things. The answer for this is in 2-3 places. Okay. One, revenue target achievement is always something that is called a lag indicator. Are you aware of that? What does a lag indicator mean?
No.
Lag indicators means that you will get to know whether you've achieved it only after the time is over.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Lag indicator, at the end of 1 quarter or the end of 2 quarter, at the end of the year, you will know how much you've actually earned. Okay. So what the problem with that lag indicator is that you can't go back and make changes if things are not going well. So what you need to do is, along with the revenue, also measure lead indicators. Okay. So what is a lead indicator? These are activities. If you keep doing this multiple times, it will improve your chances of meeting your revenue targets. Okay. Sure. Let me give you an example. I gave the example of that interiors designer, right? They manufacture these high-end products. For example, for them, one wash basin that they sell, and they sell it for B2B as well, okay? It's very, very expensive. One wash basin is 2 lakhs. Okay. The front facade of the buildings, right, that they make for all these large corporate offices, that is about some 14-20 lakhs. Okay. And so when they do a lot of interior work, like they're working with Google, Walmart, that is a one year contract. I mean, 1 year sales cycle. It will close. We'll start talking to them this year. Only next year we'll get the business. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if and they have a team who's working for these very large corporates. Okay. They are exactly the same challenge. So we said we cannot have only revenue measurement. We have to look, and even coverage doesn't make sense, because one Google account will be 1 crore. Okay. One Walmart will be 3 crores. Okay. This ladies that lady who's there, her target for the entire year is
my sales cycle also will work in the same way with the same amount of value.
Absolutely. So I'm giving you exactly what I did with this organization, right? So this sales lady would come and say, why should I come for a weekly meeting also? Why should I come for a weekly review? Because my sales cycles are 1 year down the line. Okay. So I have to come and keep saying nothing has happened, nothing has happened. So also the business owner said, Neetu, it makes sense. Now, why are we calling her for this? I said, no, we want her to come here and tell us nothing is happening every week. Because that will make her go and do work. Because she says, I don't like coming and telling nothing has happened. But that nothing, so let's define what needs to happen so that she doesn't feel that. And she does the work also. Because instead of sitting and waiting for the customer to make a decision, she has to go out and do some work. So here's what we did. We created, for her, we use account mapping. So we told her, we gave her account mapping targets. Okay. Who are the different people, like Sudarshan was saying, right? Who is the technical decision maker? Who is the contractor? Who's the, they have the word EPC. Okay. So who's from the client's project management team? They need to work with all of. Who is the architect? Okay. We did all of that. The second thing was, we realized that for these guys in this company, okay, one of the lead indicators was their relationship with the architects. If the architects are saying you have to buy this from this product from this company itself, right? Most of the clients agree to it. Okay. So we said what we will do is we created something called the architect relationship ladder. We said level 1 of relationship is where the architect doesn't know us, will not give us any orders, will not even ask us for our product or pricing. But our job is to go and make them aware about what we are and who we are and what we offer. Okay. Then we said level 2 is something. Level 3 is where he's giving us some business, close some business also. Level 4 is where he's become our champion. He is proactively telling customers, you have to buy these guys' products. This is the best. Okay. So this lady is given now the target of onboarding X number of architects who are at a level 2 or 3 relationship with us. So we've given her a relationship target. And we've given the parameters. What is level 2, level 3? We've defined that very clearly. Now it's become a part of her KRA. It's become a part of her appraisal. It's just not a part of her thing. So now what has happened is she is busy going and meeting architects and very big architects and building their relationship, because the moment this relationship is built with them, today, where they've got 3-4, this client is a 65 crore company.
Okay.
So I'm saying with this, what will happen is, if they focus on building relationships with architects and making them a level 4, level 3 or level 4 relationship, automatically all these big deals will start coming to them. So what do you think will happen to the revenue target? They will achieve it. They will have multiple large deals happening at the same time. Okay. Now this client is worried about production challenges if this happens.
Understand.
Okay, but that's a happy problem to have.
Look for a big corporates, like it's better to look for the small fishes working for the big corporates. That will work.
No. I'm saying identify what is your lead indicator. Okay. In this case, the lead indicator was relationship with architects. In some other case, it could be selling the entry-level products into organization. It depends on your business. What is your lead indicator? Track that. Instead of your revenue target will still remain. I'm saying it won't go away.
Okay. I got your point here.
But you in your sales review, you're not just looking at the target and coverage. You're looking at what are the lead indicators and you're measuring that.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, got it.
But thank you for the question. I hope it's helped other people also with this.
Sure.
Okay, so now let's look at the lead quality. Okay, here's another example. I have taken 4 different lead sources, and I have said let's say in 1 month I'm getting so many leads from each of these places. According to this data, which is the best quality, which is the best source of leads now? Obviously, IndiaMart, 100. Right? Okay. But now let's look at, since we're measuring lead quality, how many of them are qualified? Qualified means, a simple qualification will be band. A band, are you aware of it? Does the customer have B is for budget? Right? Does the customer have the budget? Like in this client of mine, do they have, I remember they were saying they were positioning one of those large multiple wash basins that goes in the corporate offices, in the bathrooms, they'll have 7-8 wash basins in a line, like attached one piece, like that is right. That wash basin, that 4 or 5 wash basins Kawala set was 20 lakhs. So do they have the budget for 20 lakhs only for wash basins? That is what we're looking as band. Okay. A is, and can anybody say what is A? Authority. Right? That the person whom we're talking to has the authority or not. N is Sorry, BA and N is?
Need.
Need. And do they actually need this, or they are just simply shopping for information? Is it really very important to them or not? And T is time, right? So the same company, I remember when the client told me, Neetu, she's already got a 4 crore pipeline. Okay, and her target is only 1 crore actually. Just for example, I said, which 4 crore? He gave me the names, which of these accounts are going to close this year. Automatically, 3 crore moved away. Because in those 3 crores, there were timelines when we looked at what is the current project stage and all, we've realized they haven't even started digging the premises that what do you call that? Land. They haven't even laid the foundation. Foundation digging only, it's not happened now. There is no way that the front facade will be ready this year. So that based on that, 3 crores is only will happen next year. So this year she's got 1 crore target, and she's got one project where one lead, which is a 1 crore lead. Right? So the time is not there right now. So that gets completely moved away. So that is what we need by you can define what is banned for you. For each organization, it's different. So what is the qualified lead for you? Okay. Then you look at if you look at this, and if you see the lead quality percentage is equal to, if there are 15 qualified leads out of 30 total leads, the lead quality is only 50%. So if you look at based on lead quality, which is your best source of leads? Referrals. And not India Mart. This is what is important for you to measure. So you may have lesser number of leads coming from a particular source, but if the quality is better, okay, then that source is much more valuable. That's why I see for a lot of people, BNI, they get lots of lead, but the quality is very, very bad. So they get very busy, but business is actually going down because you're so busy with bad leads. But for some categories, they get very good quality of leads, right? And I know some people whose only source of leads is BNI. They don't have any other source. So it depends on category to category. It depends upon the strength of your chapter. It depends upon your own networking skills, right? So please don't just measure leads, but measure quality leads and define what is high quality leads for you. So how do you do this? Here are some examples. Okay. Remember we said some of them are your ideal type of customers, right? So this is one of the fits that I also like. For example, I think I don't know if I shared with you last time. For me, SME business owners are my ideal customers. Okay. While I am invited by IIMs and IITs to do workshops for them, they are not my ideal customer. I like to work with SME business owners because I understand SME. I've been an SME business owner my whole time myself. I've understood the challenge of not being able to hire the best sales guys over there, but still needing to grow. I understand the challenge of wanting to work with very large corporates where our customers are very important to us, but we are not most important to customers. Customers can easily replace us. I understand the challenge of the huge dependency on the business owner. I understand the challenge of competition coming in sometimes from our own ex-employees. I understand all of these. While I've also had a tech startup, I relate to the challenges of a business, as SME business. So for me, a fit is an SME business owner, especially an SME business owner who wants to grow and wants to hire salespeople. That's my spot. So I measure according to that. So basically, you can also, and I know that because I did my customer persona. I never did customer persona when I had my tech startup. Okay. It was very funny. I should have done it that time. I started doing customer persona once I was trying to figure out why am I getting so many leads and nothing is getting converted. That's when I realized the value of a customer persona. So it's the same way, each one of you, there is a lead quality definition. You need to define how will your team understand what is does a customer have a need or not? Okay, budget. How do you train your team to ask for budget? That's a major question. I see a lot of business owners struggle to do that themselves, but how do we train a sales team? That's another work that's a different topic, but yeah, this is the work that we need to do. Okay, so what's your activity? Take your top 3-4 lead sources and do this exercise. Take a time frame. Whether if you have a long sales cycle, maybe you'll want to look at the last quarter. If it's a shorter sales cycle, then it could just be the last month. If your business is transactional, I have a client who sells quinoa products, quinoa seeds rather. Okay, and that's more trading, daily trading that happens. So there, he also looks at. We also track some weekly numbers for him. It depends on you, but upon what type of business that you have. You can look at monthly, weekly, or quarterly. Just don't look at total leads. Define what is qualified leads and count the number of qualified leads. In fact, if you have a sales team, make them do the work, because then they will realize. If you do the work, it will take them a little longer time to realize that they're sometimes running behind category D kind of customers, and they're getting low quality leads. Okay. And then you can, of course, look at your numbers. There's some more questions. Again, it is there in the thing. The last one is velocity. Okay. Now, velocity means how fast can your pipeline turn into revenue. This is different from your sales cycle. Okay. Some of you, the customer sales cycle is 3 months. Some of you have sales cycle, which is 1 week. Some of you have 1 month, 1 year also. Some of you have two, three different products. In that, some products are 1 month or 3 months, and some of them are 1 full year. Okay. So you can divide this based on products or based on what is the average length of your sales cycle. If it is very, very different, you've got some products 1 month, some products 1 year, I suggest separate them. Okay. Now let's see what is the sales. How do you get this? The formula is over here. Let me show this with an example. Okay. Let's say that you in a month, you are getting 20 qualified leads. Out of that, the average, each deal size, average is 5 lakhs. And your overall win rate, when you get 100 leads, you are able to close 30 of them. That means your win rate is 30%. This is for overall, generic. Okay. And it takes 2 months for you to close most of the deals from the time you get to know about them till the time you get the order. Again, this is average. So if these are your numbers, then what is your sales velocity? It is 20 opportunities into 5 lakhs into 30% divided by 2 months. So the average velocity for this example is 15 lakhs per month. That means if the team is working on this full capacity like this, the sales team is working at a full capacity with managing 20 qualified leads in a month, they will get on an average 15 lakhs per month. Now, if this company's target is 1 crore per month, what does it tell us? Will they be able to achieve 1 crore? No, based on this, they'll achieve only 15 lakhs. So what will they need to do so understand this, at the very beginning of the month, they know they'll not achieve 1 crore because this is what is the numbers looking at. Now they have the rest of the month to improve. So what will you try to improve in this? You can increase the number of qualified opportunities. If from 20, if that becomes 40, let's say, right? That itself will change the 40 into 5. The same from the 15 lakhs will become 30 lakhs. Okay. If you increase the average deal value from 5 lakhs, if you make it 7.5 lakhs or 10 lakhs, that means you think what is your upsell strategy? What is your cross sell? How can you sell higher quality products to your higher price products to your clients? That is the strategy that you will think about. Okay. Maybe let's say win rate is very difficult to change right now at this stage, but opportunities and average deal size, if you are able to do that, and average sales cycle also, there is a way to reduce average sales cycle. We're not covering that today, but let's say we keep these two low. But if you just increase 2x opportunities and 2x deal value, your velocity from 15 lakhs will become 60 lakhs. So why is this? It may sound like, okay, she's just giving some numbers. Okay, it's not that. What I'm trying to tell you here is it's so much more easier if you say, I'm only focusing on 2 matrices to improve my revenue. Instead of trying to do for everything, I'm just focusing on how do I increase the number of qualified opportunities, not total opportunities, qualified opportunities. 1, and 2, how can I increase the average order value for my clients? Focus on these 2 mega strategies. Everything else will take care of it. Instead of trying to do everything together. There is a way to improve on win rate and reduce the average sales cycle, but that we will talk about it when if it is applicable for your business, we'll talk about it when we're doing the one-to-one. Okay, so this is the work that you're going to do on your velocity also. Take a look at your numbers. If you don't know what is your win rate, if you don't know what is your average sales cycle, if you're finding it very difficult to calculate your average deal value, okay, put a assumptive number. Make a note. I think my current win rate is 30%. Overall win rate is 30%, but I'm not very sure. I will use 30% for this month, measure it, okay, and see at the end of the month, is it actually 30% or is it 20% or is it 40%? So you can do this exercise even if you don't have the exact numbers. Well, I find that for many organizations, I'm not able to introduce this because they don't have the data. So what I do is I start with assumptive data and we say we will check it for the next 3 months, make the corrections and then make it into then make it into a standard for the organization. Make sense? Okay, it may just, if you don't know those numbers, it will just take you a little longer time to validate the numbers, but please validate it. Just don't blindly put one number, then you will be working on the wrong assumptions. Okay. Last one, for many organizations, velocity may be a little too advanced because we're measuring, it's what we call a compound metric, right? There are 4 other matrices that we have to calculate before we understand velocity. And out of that, it's very difficult for us to influence average sales cycle and win rate. Win rate we can, average sales cycle will take a little longer time. So I thought I'll give you a simpler metric also, which should be a part of your dashboard. Okay, which is very simple and something that you can do, which we are already covering in our reviews, which is where are the deals getting stuck? And how do we do that is for every step you remember your sales funnel, right? Awareness, ACDR, awareness, consideration, decision, whatever. Or if you have other steps like this, qualified leads, discovery discussion has happened, proposal has been given, negotiations are going on, PO is awaited, whatever is your steps of your sales stages, put a average time that stage has to be covered into. That means, what does this mean is that let's say when we get a new lead, it should be qualified within 7 days. This is what the data is saying. Within 7 days, it should be qualified. Now, this is for a larger B2B. If it's a smaller organization, within 24 hours also, within 48 hours, 1 working day, whatever it is applies to your business, you can apply it. Okay. If it is in discovery stage, okay, that means you've got 10 days to understand the customer's requirement and send a proposal. All right. So what it means is for each expected time, that's the time, maximum time that the deal has to be in that space. You can put maximum. When I start out with customers who introducing this concept, I put maximum. Slowly we go and tighten it. Once our sales engine becomes more and more, structured, I reduce the time and say what else can we become more efficient in the way we are selling. But to begin with, this is the way we're doing it. Now let's say let's look at the third column. This is the number of deals that we have in each of these stages. We have 40 deals which are qualified. Out of that, and then 20 we are at the discussion stage. Out of that, 20 in discussion stage, 6 where we have given them a proposal, 10 where the negotiation is going on, and 4 where we are waiting for the POs. Let's say this is your current stage. Okay. Now, when we look at where the deals are getting stuck, okay, we'll say that out of the 40 qualified leads, okay, 5 of them are crossed 7 days and they still have not got into the client. Our team still does not have their complete requirement. Okay. So now in your review, you are going to be focusing not on the 40 qualified leads. You're focusing on these 5 leads where we haven't even reached discussion stages yet. What has happened to that? Why is it happening? And this is something which you can introduce even with a simple Google Sheet. You don't need a very complicated CRM tool. And in CRM tool, it can be very easily automated. In fact, I have a Google Sheet where I've even automated this. Okay. Then the second one, so same way, let's say the last one, closure PO. Okay. We've got 4 deals where we are waiting for the PO to come. Order has verbally been confirmed, but PO has not come. But out of that, 1 of them has crossed 15 days. So now that means this has become urgent. So your sales team will sit with them and say, let's get this one going because this is a high chance. If it is, this is a high probability of us closing right now. We can't let this one slide by. Right? So based on where the deals are getting stuck, based on the number of days that you've identified for your organization, you should be able to track this. Okay. And in your tracker, you write the reason why this delay is happening. You also track that. Why is this? Is because quite a few times you will realize that it is the same common reasons. That the decision maker has gone off for a holiday. The decision window closes on 22nd of each month. Now they will not release any POs. The next PO will be done only next month. So once you've realized this kind of what are the reasons, either at the customer end or at our end, our sample is not ready, because of which the customer has delayed the decision. Okay, proposal. The client had some questions on the proposal. We have not been able to give the proper answers based. That is why there is a delay. So once you understand this, you will be able to build correction systems inside your organization. So if I know that my particular one client, 22nd, they close their orders. After that, they don't place any order. They place it next month. I will make sure that one in my pipeline, okay, the inquiries from that customer which come on 21st, I will consider that it will close only next month. I will not take it in this month's sales target coverage at all. So that kind of information you will be able to start building for your own organization. So your dashboard will and your pipeline will become so much more realistic. Okay. Okay. I think I crossed today also. I was trying to be so fast, but okay. Now this is the last part, which is the dependency on you. Okay. You've got different stages of your sales funnel. Well, ACDR, you want to do that, or whatever steps you want to put in over there. You start mapping who is responsible for the customer at what stage, or if you have, instead of sales stages, if you have customers, the number of customers, and see who's responsible for each account. Okay, what I've added here is not just the accountable owner. I've added who will it escalate to if the customer has a challenge, or if your sales team has a challenge, and where are you involved. This is exactly what very large corporates do. But in smaller organizations, what can happen is the same person can handle more than one responsibility. Whatever it is, I wanted to still map it down. Okay, so for example, here, sales executive one is accountable for 2 stages. The business owner is accountable for 2 stages, but he's also the one who's everything gets escalated to. And then there is a delivery head. Whatever, if it is repetition, also write it down. Because when you do this, okay, let's take the example. I've given you one more example here. Okay, we have this account. Rahul, Kavita, Prashant are the people over here. Rahul is the sales executive. Kavita is the sales manager. Prashant is the business owner. We have mapped this out for them. Okay. Now let's look at the what is this map telling me? Rahul is accountable for stage 1 of the sales cycle. And if there's anything that is going wrong, he can take Kavita's help. So this seems to be a very nice balanced stage. Okay. Same thing. Say stage 2, Kavita is responsible. If there's any escalation, she can give it to Prashant. Seems balanced. Stage 3, there is nobody else. Directly Prashant, the business owner itself, is responsible. That means this part, there is a little bit of a risk for us. Because if Prashant gets busy with something, if Prashant is sitting in this workshop with Neetu today, this particular stage is going to get impacted. Okay. If Prashant is going for a wedding, he'll be worrying about this stage. Okay. Then we've got, again, stage 4. Again, Kavita is there. Prashant is there. By now, you know, the owner is overloaded. Okay. And last one, there is no owner only. Straight escalation goes to Kavita. There is nobody who's accountable for it. Now, this will show you the gap and why you are overloaded, why some of your team members are overloaded, and why some of your team members are sitting vela. At the same time, why some of your stages, there is always a delay because there is no accountable owner. This is called stage ownership. This is how you build a sales org also. There's one more beautiful way in which I build a sales org, but that's a little bit more complex. It's for me to explain in 5 minutes. But you can use the same logic for if you don't have sales stages, But if you have each person handling a complete account from the lead generation to the closure, you can use the same logic by, instead of stages, name the customers. So if you have 40 customers, 50 customers, do the same thing for 40, 50 customers and map the same thing and see who's overloaded, where there is a gap, where there is balance for you. Okay. So that's the homework that you will have, again, activity that which is there. So this is one thing I would like when we are doing a one-to-one, to talk to me about where is there a huge dependency. Okay. The last question, the last column here is the dependency on the business owner or founder. Is it something which is you've designed this, or because there is no other option? For example, I see a lot of people who come from a technical background. A lot of the technical decisions in their business is completely, they are the one who's driving it. Why? Because there is nobody who knows the product as technically well as they do. So it is not just by design, but there is a dependence. Nobody else in the team. Right? So that is a dependency, and it's an unhealthy dependency. Sometimes it is by design. These are key accounts. I want to address this. So it is by design. It's not because there is no other people, there are other people, but I want to address this. So you are getting involved in that particular stage or particular customer because you have decided. That's what it means by design or dependency. So now if you see what we have done, this is your complete engine. First, start with your existing growth customers. Build systems for that. Convert your lead sources into lead engines. Map your customer buying behavior and the sales process. Whichever is the gap is where your engine is also becoming weak. Identify, again, where the leaks are and create review questions around that. And also, what are you going to track on a review week on week? Measure pipeline coverage, lead quality, sales velocity, or if your sales velocity is not applicable for you, if it's too complex, where the deals are getting stuck and why. And last one, on dependency on you and who is owning the accounts or the sales stages. This is the beginning of your sales engine. And believe me, if you do this 5-6 things, you will see such a drastic improvement in the conversions. And if you notice, I did not talk about how will you go and get more leads. Why? Because if all these leaks are happening right now inside your business, you get more leads also, it will not increase your revenue. You will have to work, if there are 10 leaks in your system, you'll have to work 100 times, 100x to grow with that 10 leak. It's like walking uphill with a bucket full of water and full of holes. Okay, so this is for me. Without doing this, I never recommend people to start looking at how do I go and get more leads. Get this trend right. This itself, I'm telling you, once you do this, you will realize I don't need more leads so much as I taught before. When I do this exercise, I have a funnel exercise which I do with people to understand what is the coverage they need, how many leads they need to actually earn the revenue targets that they have. And with their existing numbers, when they look at those numbers, they come and they tell me, Neetu, this is impossible. We can't do this. And I said the only reason is because all of these leaks are existing. So let's get these corrected. You will build lead engines without even realizing what you're doing. Because you're correcting what is already broken, but you're working on things which is already inside your organization. Okay. With that, if you remember what we did market expansion last week. You got a market expansion plan. This week, a lead generation plan is what we have. And then there is a one-to-one mentoring, which is there, where whatever is, if you come with your 90 days work that you have done, planning that you have done, we can sit down and break each piece and understand what is the challenges, where you're not very clear. So we can work specifically on our organization rather than giving you broad frameworks. However, I am traveling from tomorrow onwards. So I am available only on, I'm back only on the 30th night. So my calendar, I'm going to give you my calendar right now. This is the calendar. The slots are open from 1st of July. Okay. I would recommend that you book your slots, but honestly, come to the session prepared. Don't come to the session without doing the exercise. I will still spend time with you, but you will not get the value that you deserve. Okay, let me share this link also with you. Just give me a moment. I'll share that with you, and I'll ask the Vadwani team to also send this link across to you. But what I would quickly like from you again is to get your inputs about if there has been any new thinking from today's session. And if you want to connect with me, some of you have already reached out to me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting up with more of you. So with that, I'm closing this. Thank you, everybody. See you. Bye-bye.